I need that. Okay. So, welcome everyone. It's nice to be here at Create With. I think it's the coolest place to be in Brighton right now. And by coolest, I also mean more air-conditioned. So we're all very happy about that. I go to wear a blazer in this weather, so that's amazing. So today, I will talk about a shift that we've been already witnessing. And I personally believe it's the future of entrepreneurship. And it has to do with AI, obviously. And it's the rise of the AI native solopreneur. And more specifically, what happens when people who previously didn't have access to capital or network or tech talent, now they have the ability to build fast, learn fast, and take advantage of all the cool stuff that AI has made available to all of us. And more specifically, I will focus on undercapitalized founders, women, female founders, because that's our thing at Growth Girls. So a little bit of context. I am the CEO at Growth Girls. It's an AI-first growth hacking agency based in London. I'm also the co-founder of the AI Academy. So we teach AI to professionals. Last year, we acquired the largest community of growth hackers worldwide, growthhackers.com, with thousands of users. And I also teach AI for business at NYU, New York University. So my work sits between strategy and growth and business experimentation. And my closest work has to do with the startups that are early stage, that are very ambitious with great ideas, but not necessarily have access to the capital and the tech talent, like I said before. So that's exactly the lens I'm bringing today. It's going to be very practical from the market. It's not just theoretical. And very focused on business impact, because at the end of the day, that's what we care about. So a little bit of a backstory, just to show that we're talking from personal experience, not just by consulting other companies. 3 years ago, we sold our startup because we're also, I didn't mention that, but we're also building projects, startups. We have great spin-offs that become their own thing and form their own startups. So 3 years ago, we sold one of those that we were building for 7 years, and we sold it for $4 million. Today, we are in discussion about selling our next thing for $40 million, and it took us 1 year to build it. So that tells you everything, I believe. And this time, we don't have a technical co-founder. We are all technical, but we don't need a technical co-founder. That's a very big difference. So here's the core idea of this talk. I believe that the next unicorn founder will not have a technical co-founder, and actually might not have a co-founder at all. And for everyone who is a founder here and is building their own startup, they know how difficult it is to find a good co-founder, let alone search for a technical co-founder, because VCs will not hear you otherwise. Everyone was asking, do you have a technical co-founder? So some numbers. At Growth Girls, we build other companies as well, of other founders. So in the last year, we built more than 40 female founder companies. We supported their growth in 12+ markets and countries. We launched 250 experiments to do that. So everything I will mention today comes from these learnings. And we helped in the creation of 30+ products, MVPs. And in selected projects, we saw an uprise of 40% in key metrics. So, even though I will mostly focus on the go-to-market and building a company, another big business impact is when it has to do with the results. It's not just about building. So the problem is rarely and has historically never been the idea. there is an abundance of great ideas, and sometimes in the past, when we were having discussions with new founders, and they were saying, okay, I just have the idea, but I will not share it before you sign an NDA, because my idea is so unique that I don't want anyone to know about it. I was laughing inside, because there has never been an idea that is so unique that no one else has thought about it. We all are exposed to the same things, so we think alike. So it was never about the idea, and still there are great ideas. But the problem has always been, and the showstopper, has always been about the implementation. And why? Because there is a very big access gap. The main access gap is obviously capital. I mean, if we had an abundance of budget, we would fail and fail again without a worry in the world, but that is not the case. And specifically, depending on the background, on sometimes the gender, these are things that I don't say like that. It's based on studies. And, access to networks, institutional bias, all of these things create a cumulative disadvantage for some founders. So it makes access to capital even harder, which means that you don't have access to technical talent, because that's one of the main milestones, being able to build something, which means you cannot go to market fast enough. So let's see how AI breaks the cycle. So this is the loop of bias. And not only bias, I mentioned bias because it's very unfair, but also background, It doesn't only have to do with asking for funds. It's also about having the funds to bootstrap something. Not everyone has that. So bias and background mean less capital. It means no access to technical talent. It means no MVP to go to market to validate your idea. Then you get no traction, which creates more bias. So in the end, when we see all these studies and we say, okay, but this group of people get less funds, the answer is yes, but we have historically less, success metrics to support giving the funds to them. So it's a loop, I would say. But I'm very glad that we are already seeing AI break the cycle in every single part of this loop. So first of all, with AI, you need less capital. If we compare apples to apples, engineering with a team of developers versus vibe coding or no coding or low coding, whatever someone prefers to do, it makes a big difference. And I'm only talking about development, but it's the same with marketing and every other activity we need to grow a company, which means that we can actually build stuff and go to market with that, MVPs or marketing assets, which means that we have traction and real signals from the market, revenue signals. And I think in the end, it helps with the bias. So I don't know, I am an AI enthusiast, so I'm allowed to say that. I think that AI is democratizing access to entrepreneurship and actually making let's say, society more fair, if I can say that. So this is the main difference. Before AI, a founder would have the idea, they would pitch the idea, they would do it with their confidence. So a lot of the conversations, and even in conferences, was how to pitch your idea, how to convince about yourself. All of the founders, they're very worried. Am I convincing enough? Am I dressed in the correct way? Am I doing the storytelling as I should? And not everyone has these soft skills, especially if you are a person, that's used to be behind the laptop. I can tell you that. It's not an easy thing. It's nerve-wracking. But now, no one will take away the value of storytelling and your personality, but being able to show something tells a story on its own. So now you can go with your idea, but also a prototype that you've built with AI. You can go with a workflow. You can go with users, real users. You can go with revenue signals, right? With real data. So what is an AI native solopreneur? I can tell you what it isn't. It isn't a founder that doesn't work with people at all. That's not the goal. We don't want to show it like some AI is replacing people in that kind of way. But it is a founder that considers AI the first layer of implementation and their first team. So if we look at that, it is a founder that is surrounded by agents that do different things. They can have a product agent, they can build automation, a research agent, a content agent, an ops agent. If you were hiring all of these specialties in people, actually it wouldn't be possible starting out to have a full team. So each agent handles part of the work, but the founder remains the decision maker, the strategist. And that's how the startup ecosystem has changed, the startup path, I would say. So we said the old path was from idea to pitch, to getting funds, to developing your first MVP with the funds, and then launching, going to market, and see if you succeed or fail, with a lot of hypotheses in the previous stages. Here's the AI native path. So we have the idea, of course, then we go to prompting. Then we build the prototype, we test it with real market data, we automate, we fix what needs to be fixed before we automate further so we don't multiply any errors, and then we get the revenue signals that are super useful for us and for VCs, and before we know, if we need to invest more or if we need to completely change and pivot. And it's never about the tools. And we all use a lot of tools. I don't know how many stickers you have on there. I think that if there was room, I would put even more. We love our AI tools. We use them. We enjoy them. They are becoming better and better, so that's important as well. But even though I will mention some of the main tools, it's never about the tools. And I think that was mentioned on the previous speech as well, that don't be tool dependent, because tools may change. The system is what will stay with you. So the tools can be, you need a thinking layer, so Claude, I think most of people love Claude these days, but also ChatGPT, Gemini. The building layer, so we use Lovable, we use Claude Code, we use Bumble, Software, Framer, Repeat, all of the nice tools that we can use to vibe code and no code. The automation layer, so Make, Zapier, NA10. The growth layer, we can, depending on how good we are with building things, we can build our own CRMs or use existing CRMs. We can use HubSpot. We can use Typeform and Tally to get to have information about our users. And of course, in the end, everything ends up in a very nice data dashboard. So we can use existing tools like Data Studio, Data Looker Studio, the Notion, and everything else. So this is a tool set, and I could put in the list even more tools. What is more important is the first column here. That is what we need, and then we decide the tools. And sometimes people ask us when they're just starting out, which tool is the best? There is no answer to that. Everyone has their own likings, and tools follow one another, so they add features all the time. So just be looking out for any new tools as well. So before we move into examples, I want you to keep one question in mind. Perhaps it will be useful for you. What part of your business would you like to automate? Right? We'll come back to that to help you select one of the parts of your operations, but keep that in mind as we move forward. And this question is where the AI native mindset begins, by seeing how we replace our own work. And the question should never be, which tool should I use? And again, I'm stressing this because a lot of people get excited by the possibilities of a tool, and the tool guides them on what they need to do. So they go, they see what is possible inside Claude, and they say, OK, this is possible, so I should do it. That's not the way to go. Because AI gives us a lot of abilities and possibilities, and we will never have a concrete system if the tools lead us to what we should automate. So we should be the decision makers, map everything that we're doing, and decide first what we want to automate. And automations are not a new thing. So we've been automating things years ago with Zapier and Make, right? But they were deterministic, which means that we were using automations as taskers. So a trigger, a very specific trigger, if then that kind of logic, and similar output in the end, very structured. What is very different with automations, and when we're talking about automations, we're having completely different mindset now, is that we have reasoning systems now. So the trigger is conversational, first of all, right? That's a big difference. And with APIs, it goes through reasoning, and it creates synthetic outputs. So automations right now, it's not just automating the work, but they operate as a thought partner, like a co-founder, almost. And let's make it a bit more practical. I'll walk you through some use cases, but I would like to talk about, for the more technical people in the room, we've seen, I don't know, perhaps you've seen it as well, a very big difference now that we have MCPs. Because with APIs, and again, this is for the more technical people in the room, we are already seeing a very big shift, because with APIs, we were moving slower, we had to connect every single tool separately, a lot of debugging, a lot of maintenance. So even though we were automating, it wasn't the optimal way of automating. But now with MCPs, we can just connect to a system, and the system talks to the tool. It's much faster, and it doesn't need a lot of maintenance, so it's much safer. So let's go to see some use cases. I'll talk about 3 personas, because we see them very often. The first persona, perhaps someone sees themselves in one of those 3 categories. The first persona is someone who we call a scientist. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise, and they need to find a way to productize it, turn it into a business. The second persona is a service provider, someone who already has clients, they already have projects, but there are so many hours in the day. We all get 24 hours in our day, and we cannot do anything about that. It's the laws of physics. So we have a ceiling, right? If our work is tied to how many hours we work. So then again, we need to systemize the work and productize our work. And the third persona is someone who has access to a community, perhaps a creator or an influencer. An influencer can be any kind of influencer, by the way. It can be a person who has a community. So don't only think about fashion influencers. They have the community, and how do we monetize the community? How do we turn this into a business? And my personal opinion, that's the best place to be, by the way. Having a community right now is gold. It's very powerful, but very hard. So the common pain points that founders come to us with, and I don't know if you've ever thought of any of these problems, but I did a thing that I transcribed every pre-sales call that I have, every brainstorming meeting that I had with new founders, and I asked AI to find the most common patterns, and these were the most common patterns. So again, it's not just me. This is data from our conversation, of course. So I need a developer to build that. So I know exactly what I want to build, but I need a developer. I need funding first. So I can get this far with the budget I have. I don't have budget. I need funding first. It's not easy, let me tell you. I know about the angel investors, but find one first, and then see how that collaboration goes. And then I don't know how to build it, so I don't specifically need a developer, but how do I build it? What do I do? I cannot hire anyone, not only developers, marketeers, no one. I don't know how to automate. If someone could please do this for me, if I could duplicate myself, that would be amazing. That's what it means. And I'm not technical enough. So I have a great idea about a SaaS, a product, but I'm not technical. So how do I make it work? So AI lowers the cost of execution and provides a solution for all these pain points, because it turns ideas into business assets to start with. So founders now can build MVPs, they can do lead qualification, they can do proposal generations. We see the specific per use case. They can do CRM automations, they can build content engines, they can do all of those nice stuff that replace, actually, these are the solutions to the pain points that we were talking about. So the first use case is going from idea to go to market. And it's a sprint. And if there's anyone familiar with sprints, it's something we follow at growth hacking, but also engineering. So these are very fast building cycles and experimentation cycles. So you get from idea to go to market very fast, not lose time with a lot of brainstorming and hypothesis. Now, the steps we need to make, if there's anyone in the audience that is a new founder, is define the customer problem, right? Turn it into a product brief. So how do we provide the solution? Generate user stories from our early stage beta testers, because that's the most powerful thing. We need the social proof. Create a wireframe based on that, build a prototype, test it with real users, and get feedback and improve on feedback. And then the next sprint begins. So here is how we help the founder of the first type of persona, the expert, the scientist, how we help them build their first MVP. So first of all, if you are a scientist, if you are an expert, most probably everything exists here, right? That's what we get. So how do you give your brain to someone else? You cannot. Or you spend, like months writing a book, and it's never perfect if you are a perfectionist, so it doesn't happen. But what we are doing is we are getting interviews from the experts, and with AI, we are transcribing the interviews. So we let them talk about everything they have in mind, about their vision, about their expertise, about themselves, every single thing. We transcribe all of this conversation, and we feed it into an external brain. So in this case, it was a custom GPT. It can be other systems as well, but it was a knowledge base that not only created the external brain, but also it was available to every single person that wanted to work on this project. So they didn't have to talk to the founder all the time. Everything was there. And then with the custom GPT, we have the knowledge base, and with Claude and a very cool connector with Apify, but that's just a detail because the tool doesn't matter. Many tools can do the same thing. We were scraping Reddit to find the pain points. So again, we did not rely on hypotheses that someone says, okay, I have a friend who has this problem, and this got me thinking that I can provide this solution, and here's my idea for a startup. One friend is not enough. We need to get more data. So we were scraping Reddit to get real-time conversation about pain points, and with AI, we were filtering those and synthesizing the information between the expertise and the pain points to find the best combination. After we did that, we went to the next step, which is actually traditional digital marketing, but with a growth hacking approach, the very fast testing and iterations, and we tested all those messages on ads, on social media ads, to get some signals in terms of engagement, what people interact with the most, what they click on the most, all of these things, what they comment. You can get feedback even from ads, like questions. And then, through all of that, we built a wireframe that combines all of this and creates a loop between getting pain points, expertise, best performing messaging, and we created the system. And that produced the first MVP that had the best combination of everything, right? So these are, feel free to take a photo. I know some of you took a photo. Feel free to take photos of anything that you like. But I would like to repeat, these are just the tools we used in this case. They can be replaced. So if you're not a Claude user, I don't know if anyone is not a Claude user these days, but don't worry about it. These are possible with other tools as well. OK, I'm changing the slide. I know you're still taking photos. Wait, OK, changing. So next use case, the service provider. So from manual work to automation. So an average service provider that is a solo founder spends at least 2 hours per day on admin work. And admin work is not fun. Because when you're doing admin work, you're not doing the real work, you're not promoting yourself, you're not in conferences like this, let alone doing a lot of work that you will not get paid for, called proposals. You can be scoping and creating proposals, and if they decide not to work with you, it's hours wasted in a way. So again, we don't like admin work. You could hire a lot of people to do admin work, but that's not always possible. So we found a growth lever with that, from going from admin work to doing just reviews. We want a human in the loop, but not doing the work their own. So here's what we followed. So we took Claude, again, this is the tool of choice in this case, to build the proposal routines, right? The first step is to audit all the operations first. Like I told you, like map all your needs and your repeating tasks. Use Claude to create the proposal generation. And how do you do that? You build a routine that has all the knowledge of what your proposal should look like, your services. We don't let it do its own thing, and takes the transcript from the meeting or the email and connects the needs to what your services are and puts them together on your proposal template. And then you automate the email sent out. So again, with a Claude connector, you can put this proposal in an email and send it, or actually what we prefer to do is create a draft email. And then you review it first, and then you send it. But that's also automated. And then Claude finds, people will come back and say, sounds good, let's have a call about it. When it's a good time for you. So Claude checks your calendar. It sees where you're available. You have given Claude directions, or if I have a meeting, I don't want to have a meeting 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after, so you can customize the way that it books your calls. It answers, you book a call, so no human involvement in this part. And then you get to the finances part, which is a big hassle for a lot of founders. You don't have to connect Claude to Xero or other similar tools. You can just connect it to an Excel and get the invoices, do checks, do analysis, provide information to you, how you're doing, if everyone has paid, what your profitability look like, something that something that is actually not available unless you have someone that is in-house to give you all this financial intelligence. And then with Claude, we systemize the whole operations. So this is just an example of the operations that is focused on pre-sales, right? Proposal preparation meetings, but the same system we follow with all similar preparation operations, which resulted in the end for this founder to have 4 times the time to work on other things. So from 2 hours, we went to half an hour of admin work. We do not want 0. We still want to know what is happening on our business. And then the third example is the content creator, the person who has access to the community, and they have all this content out, but they want to systemize it in a way. So this is where content becomes a learning system. And we're going to talk a lot about social media here, but it is a creator that has a community on social media. So instead of doing guesswork and finding trends and all of these things, with a Claude routine, we can scrape the accounts that we want, analyze what performs the best, filter it out, and use our knowledge base, our kind of content that we want to create, see what where there is a good fit to create this kind of content, create one very useful piece of content, for example, a very large video, and with AI, repurpose it to create many assets out of it. So for example, if we're talking about a YouTuber, one piece of content can be a long video, very high quality with a lot of knowledge in it, and then through AI automations, we can create a lot of short videos, newsletters, blog posts, landing pages, you name it. Even questionnaires, even small games and tools. So that means that you are responsible for the valuable one piece of content, and the rest is being taken care of from your content engine that you've built. And then the loop goes on, because we scrape the engagement again of our channels, see what performs the best, and we get better suggestions for the next kind of content that we will create. And we have here all the tools that were used in this case. I know a lot of these tools are present today at this conference, so make software, so you're in luck because you can talk with them directly, with the founders, but these are amazing tools that can help you actually monetize whatever you're doing. And actually, in this case, the creator was able to increase the revenues, because if you're collaborating with someone and you can offer a customized dashboard with all the intelligence of what you're doing, you have higher quality, as a professional. So you get more money for what you create at the end of the day. So we focused a lot on the speed. We focused a lot on the, on the access to capital. But another very valuable aspect is access to learning. That is gold, because we also need to learn fast and optimize what we're doing. So it's not just based on our minds and, again, hypotheses, which I love a good hypothesis, because how do you test? But it's not enough. Data is better. So very fast learning, becoming better and better in what we do. And one thing before we close that I want everyone to remember is that we're all very enthusiastic about everything AI can do for us, but don't let it replace you personally. Don't let it replace your judgment. A lot of first-time users of AI do that, and they think that AI can do everything better. That is not a fact. AI can draft, it can automate, it can summarize, it can do all of these things that a very good assistant would be doing, but it's not magic. So the founder must always remain the decision maker, the person who takes care of ethics, right? You don't want AI to have access to everything, all the data of your users. So you get to decide that. You have to put the limits. You have to have the commercial judgment. OK, I'm over time. And the founder needs discipline. So don't create generic products just because you can. AI has made it very easy to create stuff. Just don't do it just because you can. We can build anything these days. That doesn't mean that anyone cares about what we're building. So make something that people need. And how do you know if they need it? With customer validation. And don't let hallucinated information go there. So always be in the loop to check everything that goes out. And don't automate before you fix, because you will be automating bad operations and errors. So every founder must now become a systems thinker rather than a person who uses tools. The AI native framework is what we talked about before. So it's define, build, automate, test, and scaling after that. So if anyone is an early stage startup founder, this is what you can do after this talk. You can map all your idea and processes and see how you can automate. Never start from the tools, start from what you want to automate, and going from permission to build to building proof, so you can prove that what you're building is valuable. Thank you very much. We can connect on LinkedIn if you want.